Hello, and welcome to Remote Rural Regions, Environmental and Cultural Factors by Mary Jane Connell, aka Nurse MJ. I'm here to help you learn about the remote rural regions in different areas of rural and the problems that are incurred. In the media, the people in rural towns have mentioned that they do not get their news. The news is only covered when there's something extravagant happening, such as a coal mine disaster or anything else that brings in the media. However, they don't get their local news from the big news people. There's just no issues that are important enough for urban people. The high-speed access internet is not always available or reliable. However, people do have cell phones, although that is kind of spotty as well. The internet and television have biases, and those are educational things that the people in rural areas may believe as truth if they are on the wrong sources. Telemedicine is an availability in some areas, which is a good thing. There's a lot of family support if you have all your family there. However, there's a high number of disabled and elderly, and their children have moved on to urban areas. There's a high number of domestic violence issues. However, some other people do trade services and goods with each other in these rural communities. They have to lean on each other for these supports. The geographical location has a lot to do with the family support of the availability or inavailability. The role of peers in the cultural environment has a huge influence on the high incidence of drugs in these communities. There's also community knowledge in the gossip chain. The gossip chain is the way news travels. We don't have to rely on the accuracy of the internet or the news because the community knows, right? There is always a peer pressure to conform to the community. However, it's okay to be yourself in this community. I know I was, and I was ostracized for it, right? The community knowledge is definitely something that um, is not always accurate, but it is a way to get the community to know things that are happening or not happening. The cyclical nature in these areas is very intergenerational. And just because grandma did it this way and this was her healing for this, then this is what's going to happen. However, some of these things may not always be the best thing. There are tricks to interrupting the cycle, and part of that is education. As we educate people in these areas, then maybe we can stop some of those harmful traits, harmful health things, and just keep the cycle going in a different fashion and change that cycle of poor health education. In the rural area, they do have their own legal and political system, and community members are involved. Recently, with our recent election, the people in the rural areas were complaining that their votes didn't count because they did not have a high concentration of votes. Well, they were probably right, but they can make a difference in their own community health with becoming involved in the community and being elected to offices that could help. There are potential barriers in these little rural areas. There is a huge lack of healthcare resources. There is a decrease in healthcare workers. There's no local hospitals at times, and occasionally, if you're lucky, you'll get a local clinic. However, the local clinic may not be the best place to take yourself when you're not feeling well. And sometimes there are specialized things that do need to happen in a hospital in an urban area. There's not always the ability to get to those areas. There's a poor economy. There's a lot of poverty. There's a huge amount of poverty versus urban to remote. And a lot of people are moving from the remote to the urban areas to get this health care. However, it has been documented that there are poor health outcomes with a great correlation for the high poverty levels. And there's lack of education, there's lack of financial resources. And there have been documentations of better income equals needs met, and the needs not met, it decreases lifespan. And especially in the population of the elderly. There is a lack of education for people that are minorities, and there is also an interesting thing in different rural communities that people are basing their healing on the local traditions of the local elders or the healing elders. For example, in Alaska, in a little community called Nome, they rely heavily on the local healers. The hospital system there is very supportive of this, and they are trying to incorporate the Western medical field and education and expertise and try to incorporate that with the local healing elders. They do respect those elders, and they are able to help them be healed. However, there's still a lot of need there to help the people to get proper health care. And here we go. Same old gender. Women versus men, and the LGBT groups. Those are just a couple of little groups there that are high on my ticket here. However, I have been biased against by a man doctor because I was a woman. Although he didn't say that, but he didn't respect my opinion, and that really is frustrating. So there is a huge disparity in gender, and it does happen in rural communities as well. And the LGBT group, my brother is gay. He has a husband, and he has been biased against because of that. And we need to just stop, okay? Everybody's human. Let's just stop. There are definite problems in the having a rural area with a geographical location being far from hospitals, the distance to better health care, the financial constraints, and of course, again, the elderly issues. Example being my father, who is in his 80s, and my mother. My mother has excellent health. My father has health issues. He goes to Grand Junction, Colorado, which is very far from his rural place because he trusts his doctor there. He does not trust the local doctors, or even the community that is 30 miles away that has a hospital. He actually almost died there. So I can see why he may not trust that place anymore. But if he needs anything major, he'll go to the city, as he says. Let's see. The international scope of this issue for rural areas globally. There are very interesting problems with, say, in Africa or other countries that are not as blessed as we are here in America. There is a lack of good food or water, lack of essentials such as housing or utilities, electricity, things that we take for granted. These are things that we can contribute to changing as nurses, one person at a time, one area at a time. And the problems with issues in the rural area are very vast, but not insurmountable. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to my narration and viewing my PowerPoint, and I hope that we can make a change for good for rural areas. Thank you.